one, the only, the incredible Hulk Hogan!
What if I told you that the man who made wrestling a global sensation nearly threw it all away, not once, but multiple times, and still came back even stronger? This is the untold story of Hulk Hogan, a man who wasn't just a wrestler, he was a pop culture revolution. From packed arenas and action figures to shocking scandals and legal battles, Hogan's journey is more than spandex and body slams. It's a wild saga of fame, failure, and unexpected redemption. But here's the twist, one behind the Hulkamania hype was a man fighting demons, controversy, ego, and the changing tides of pop culture. Stay with us to discover the untold chapters that turned Terry Bollea into the most polarizing figure in wrestling history. Section 1. The Rise of a Titan. Before he became Hulk Hogan, Terry Gene Bollea was a quiet kid from Augusta, Georgia, who loved baseball and bass guitar, but one thing stood out: his massive frame. At over 6 feet 7 inches and 300 pounds, he looked like a real-life superhero. While most kids his age were focused on sports, Bollea was dreaming of rock stardom. Until fate intervened. He trained under Matsuda, a legendary wrestler known for breaking bones to test new talent. Matsuda broke Hogan's leg in his very first training session to see if he'd come back, and Hogan did, with even more determination. Soon, regional promoters saw dollar signs. Vince McMahon Sr. gave him his first big break, but it wasn't until Vince Jr. took over the company that Hulk Hogan, the name, the brand, the myth, was born. His first run in WWF was thunderous, but the game changer came in 1985 with WrestleMania The Iconic, where Hogan teamed up with Mr. T. It wasn't just wrestling, it was Hollywood meets body slams, and it turned Hogan into a cultural force. Section 2. Hulkamania takes over. By the late 80s, Hulk Hogan was no longer just a superstar. He was a multi-platform marketing machine. He appeared in cartoons like Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, starred in films like Suburban Commando, and was name-dropped in rap songs. Merchandise sales soared, and little kids everywhere wore yellow bandanas, tore their shirts in imitation, and screamed, "What you gonna do, brother?" The core of Hulkamania was a message of self-belief, patriotism, and clean living. Hogan told kids to eat their vitamins, say their prayers, and train hard. His good guy persona struck a chord during the Cold War era. He often squared off against characters like the Iron Sheik or Nikolai Volkov, symbolizing America's moral high ground. But behind the golden mustache, things were getting complicated. Rumors swirled that Hogan had backstage pull, influencing match outcomes and keeping his title reigns longer than deserved. Wrestlers like Randy Savage, Bret Hart, and even Ultimate Warrior began to question how far his control reached. Still, fans didn't care. They believed in Hulk Hogan, and he kept them believing. Section 3. The Fall and the Reinvention. As the 1990s rolled in, the shine started to wear off. Wrestling fans were getting older, and Hogan's over-the-top persona felt outdated and cheesy in a world shifting toward realism and anti-heroes. The steroid scandal of 1991 came at the worst time. Hogan testified in court that he had used performance enhancers during his career. And although he wasn't charged, his reputation took a major hit. Sales dropped, ratings slumped, World Wildlife Fund distanced itself, and Hogan took a break from the spotlight. But then, in a surprising career pivot, he joined Ted Turner's WCW, a bold move that would change wrestling history. There, he struggled at first with the same old red and yellow gimmick. But in 1996, in an earth-shattering moment at Bash at the Beach, Hogan turned heel for the first time in over a decade, forming the New World Order, NWO with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. He betrayed the fans, trashed his clean image, and reinvented himself as Hollywood Hogan. The reaction was explosive. Fans threw trash in the ring. They booed, but they also watched. Hogan had proven that even at rock bottom he could rise again by becoming the villain. Section 4. the Hollywood Hogan era, and the Monday Night Wars. The black and white clad Hollywood Hogan was nothing like the hero we grew up with. He strutted around with arrogance, wore sunglasses indoors, and used spray paint as a weapon. But strangely enough, he was cooler than ever. His heel turn fueled a revolution in wrestling that brought adult viewers back to the screen in droves. WCW Monday Nitro trounced WWF's Monday Night Raw in ratings for nearly 2 straight years. Hogan's backstage savvy, while controversial, helped create layered storylines and mainstream appeal. He even brought in Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone, merging NBA drama with wrestling chaos. But not everyone was thrilled. Many younger wrestlers, like Chris Jericho, Booker T, and Eddie Guerrero, struggled for TV time. Hogan's creative control clause meant he could overrule match finishes, which often led to flat endings and rising resentment backstage. Eventually, the cracks showed. WCW's bloated roster, poor management, and over-reliance on aging stars led to a slow downfall. But through it all, Hogan remained the face. Controversial, powerful, and unforgettable. When he returned to WWF in 2002, the reception was thunderous. Fans forgave, forgot, and celebrated him. The Rock vs. Hogan at WrestleMania. X8 wasn't just a match. It was a passing of the torch, and Hogan, despite being a heel, stole the show. Section 5. Scandals, lawsuits, and redemption. Just when Hogan seemed invincible, real life struck again. In 2015, a private sex tape featuring Hogan was leaked online. But worse still, it included audio of him making racially offensive remarks. The fallout was immediate. WWE severed all ties, pulled his merchandise, and removed him from the Hall of Fame. It seemed like Hulkamania had finally died, but Hogan didn't go down quietly. He sued the gossip site Gawker for violating his privacy and took the case to court. In a shocking win, he was awarded $140 million, forcing Gawker into bankruptcy and reshaping how media handles celebrity privacy. Still, the damage to his image was deep. Some fans never forgave him. Others, particularly younger generations, only knew him through the controversy. Yet, through humility, public apologies, and low-profile charity work, Hogan slowly clawed his way back. In 2018, WWE reinstated him into their Hall of Fame, signaling a partial redemption. Whether it was a PR move or a genuine second chance, one thing was certain. Hogan's shadow still loomed large over the world he helped build. Hulk Hogan was never just about wrestling. He was a cultural mirror, reflecting America's obsession with heroes, its willingness to forgive, and the fine line between legend and liability. He made wrestling cool, mainstream, and larger than life. He crashed, burned, rebuilt, and reminded us that even icons are human. So, the next time you hear the riff of Real American, know this: behind the red and yellow, behind the bandanas and biceps, was a man who defied the odds, rewrote the rules, and etched his name into history. Not just as a wrestler, but as a symbol of transformation. There may be champions, there may be legends, but there will never, ever be another Hulk Hogan. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss more stories of wrestling's greatest icons.